Welcome back to That Dad Guy. It's September 11th, 2023, and today I'm going to show you what Lilah from Maryland sent me. It was a nice gift, but before that, I thought we'd just do a little walk around outside. It's not raining at the moment. It was raining earlier, so I thought we'll go outside. I'll show you exactly what's happening with the fruit situation around the yard, and it's a good way for me to clear my head. It was one of those days today at work. You know, one of those days where you go in, you expect one thing, and everything goes sideways on you? That was my day today. It was a bit longer, and yeah, time to clear my head with a little nature, if we should. So let's turn the camera around. Here you can see the basketball net. That it needs to come down. It's broken, it's welled down here, and I can't find anyone else to fix it, so it's probably gonna have to come down. All right, here are the grapes and the kiwis. You can see right to there. The grapes are in, they're ready to eat or be plucked or do whatever. There are also, there's a kiwi there. There are more kiwis down there. They're not quite ready yet. I tried one, that wasn't bad, but it needs to wait a couple more weeks maybe. So you can see there's purple ones, but we also have, let's see here. Look at all the green grapes that are growing there. And in amongst the green grapes are the kiwis. And so there is a ton of grapes that are ready to eat. And the birds know that because the birds have been here and are eating them. You will see here in a minute as we walk down here. They're laying on the ground. They're getting at the kiwis that are ready and some of the grapes. There goes one of the birds there. You hear it flapping away. All right, let's walk back here. You can see the apple tree. Apple tree has apples all over it. There are some branches that have been cut off that are dead inside that should be cleaned up. Some of them not so good. These are not going to be good apples. Some of them have had some bugs or something get into them. Others are all right. Things like this, you can see there's a vine that grew up inside the tree that I must have plucked at some point and cut it, and so it's dead. So there's some apples. I'm not sure, they're probably not edible this year. Maybe you can make jams out of them, I don't know. These were the blueberries and black currants, that's all done. The raspberries, that's all done, the season's over. So let's go over here. Basically we're looking at grapes and kiwis are left, and there's apples. So there are a lot of grapes that are just everywhere, everywhere. Different varieties. Come down here to the pear tree. They just got stunted. Little things. So there are a few of them out there. Some of them not bad. This one's a decent size. All right, get this out of the way. But some of them are just wee. And then you can see back here the boxes, the raspberry bushes all done, that season's finished. If you look down here, this is covered in grapes because the birds are getting into them. The grapes are dangling everywhere. And because I don't make jam with them, it's really up to the birds to eat them. So I'll go in and pluck a few and eat, but I can't eat all this. And we used to have people come and harvest them, and they made their own grapes and jellies and all sorts of stuff. And they still can if they wanted to, because we have lots of them around. But yeah, we'll eat some. The rest, nature will enjoy them. And then at the end of the season, I'll start cutting back some of the vines and have them ready again for next year. All right, that's the outside. That's what's happening in the garden. Let's go inside and see what is in the packet that Lilah sent. So this is the packet that Lilah sent. We got the forever stamp on there, and let's open it up and see what's inside. I think we can start with, I went to the Great American Stamp Show in Cleveland. Here are some USPS mail carrier union stamps and other mail themed stamps, plus some Canada items. So thank you, Lilah. We're gonna go through that. So the first one, it says, Letters Mingle Souls. It's honoring Universal Postal Union's centenary. So 1874 to 1974. So this was a first day issue that came out in 1974. There's the stamp that says Letters Mingle Souls. It is a 10-cent US stamp. You can see the postmark there from 1974. And then the first day issue as well. On the back it says, Art Around the World, Mrs. John Douglas by Thomas Gainsborough. The relaxed pose and natural setting of the detail from the painting of Mrs. John Douglas is characteristic of the natural simplicity of Gainsborough's work. He relied on the studies from nature and life rather than on formal schooling for his artistic ability. The painting became part of the Rothschild collection in 1884, and upon the death of Mr. James D. Rothschild in 1957, it was bequeathed to the National Trust of England. So that's where this picture comes from, that's in the stamp. All right, so that's one. The next one is a first day issue, also from 1974, the zip code stamp, also a 10-cent stamp. You can see the official code there on the back. There is nothing written on the back. So that is just the first day cover. Along with that, in 1973, I've shown some of these stamps before, really liked them. This is the mail process stamp that came out in 1973, so the first day issue of it. And the artwork on the side showing a salute to the United States postal people and all the different ways that the mail gets transported. And you can see them sorting on the line there, all the parcels. In 1973, this is one of my favorite stamps just for the subject matter that came out. So I'm going to show this first, and you can see the rural mail driver delivering to the roadside mailbox there. And then there is the stamp that depicts the same thing. So because it's what I do, it's kind of a cool stamp. 8-cent stamp from 1973. You can see April 30th there for the first day issue. And then we have this one here that is postmarked, well, it's double postmarked actually. So we have this, the letter carrier stamp. You can see the postmark there, 1989 at the time, from Milwaukee, first day issue. But up here, there's another stamp, postmarked 2002. So you have another postal vehicle. So they've doubled it up on this one here. You can see the mailman delivering to the old mailbox there with his satchel on. And then on the back it says, Mail in Motion, the city delivery service in America, a Saturday afternoon program at the National Museum of American History, July 11th, 1987. And on the back, the National Museum of American History, the Smithsonian, we have this stamp as well. So we've got 3 stamps on the same card. Very cool postmark there as well. So there is a lot going on with this particular card that I really enjoy. All postal themes, and yeah, so very cool. Now going back to that letter carrier one, we have this one here. So same stamp that was on this one here at the bottom, but in its own format. This isn't necessarily a first day issue. There's no cancellation on it. It does have this larger image as well, but no official first day issue written on it. And then this was an interesting one. Now I'm not covering up the address on this because it came out in 1978, so probably the person does not still live there. Well, I'll semi-cover it up. This comes from the Canadian Stamp Show. You can see the Stamp X there, 1978. But the US stamps at the top, first day issue as well, from 1978, but you can see it's postmarked in Toronto, Canada, at the Canadian Stamp X. So that is very cool. Sometimes I use very cool very often. Maybe too often, you might say. It is rather interesting then, perhaps, I should say. Okay, here's another one, another Canadian stamp, first day issue. Came out in 1971, Paul Kane, 1810 painter, passed away in 1871, so there you go. And there's the 7-cent stamp with the indigenous teepees. I don't have any other information about it, so there you go on that. Sometimes you have first day issues and they have cards inside that tell you more information. Sometimes it's written on the back, and sometimes it's just like this. And then I have this one. It's actually from 1959. So I have this one here. On the back, there's an address from Texas, the person that probably bought it originally. But it's not really a maxi card because it's not the same image. Yes, it's the planes and planes, but it's not the same. But there's a depiction that's 50 years of aviation, I guess, 1909 to 1959 is what the stamp came out for. So you can see what maybe in 1909 the plane looked like versus you can see the jets there. All right, this is another one, kind of interesting. Came out in 1957. There is an address on it, but it is a hotel address, so I think we'd be all right showing it. So if the hotel is still in existence, in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, Hotel Cecil, in 1957. If you live anywhere near Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, let me know. Does Hotel Cecil still exist? So we have this stamp. And it's just an envelope that was sent out. This isn't a first day issue. Well, no, it just says fight cancer. It's not a first day issue. It's got a 5-cent stamp on it. The person's address below that they sent it is just his name and the town he lives in. There's no street address, there's no postal code, but I know letter carriers have gotten letters to their destinations with less. So at the time, sometimes small communities, you didn't have a street address or a civic address. You said you were in such and such a town in this province or in this state, and they knew that you were the third house after the big red barn. That was your house. That's where all the so-and-sos lived. They just knew back then. Today, not quite as easy and not quite the same. All right, the last thing that showed up was this card. And it is just a postcard. There is a 7-cent stamp on the back, not a real stamp, just an image of the stamp that matches the postcard. And so it would be a domestic rate card because it says pre-stamped postcard up there. So you could send this as a prepaid postcard. And it says Ontario Place, Toronto, Ontario. That's what you're looking at here. And does it have a date? Does not have a date. So I'm not sure when this one came out, but once again, it's a 7-cent, so it was a while ago. So it's kind of a neat little treasure trove of things that Lilah found when she was at her Great American Stamp Show in Cleveland. So I appreciate her doing that, going and finding her treasures and noticing, hey, there's a couple things that I might like, and picking them up and sending them on, which means maybe there's a few things that you like too. And so I'm able to show them to you, and you guys can get an experience for them as well. So thank you, Lilah, for sharing some of the treasures you found when you were out. Hopefully you had a great time at the stamp show. I'm hoping there'll be another stamp show here. I mean, they're not going to be at the same level. You've seen, I did a video last time I was at the Moncton Stamp Show, or the Fundy Stamp Show they call it. Not quite as large, but there are some things to be found. So I'll be happy if they have another one soon. I know Kyler was asking about it, and if Kyler hears anything, he'll let me know, hopefully, because I don't think I'm on the mailing list yet to be told. I'm on the list for the auction. Now, if they go from that and create a mailing list, and maybe one day I will be. All right, that's all I've got for today. I got to get some supper ready and prepare some things this afternoon that have to be done around the house. Was going to mow the lawn, but it's kind of damp out there, so that's not going to happen today. It'll have to wait till a dry day later on. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got for right now. There is something coming out later this week, hopefully. I got to work on that too. All right, have a magical week. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?